Sure. I mean, I think one of the most interesting trends that we're seeing in the market today is the confluence of database marketing and display advertising and the media market as a whole. And some of the people who actually hold the most and most valuable data, the most hygienic data, and actual real purchase data are obviously the retailers. So they have a tremendous wealth of information that they can bring to bear for the brands that they work directly with and the inventory that's on their shelves. So it's a fantastic opportunity for them really to get into the digital space.
So how does it work for you, or does it, or will it for Rubicon to be involved in that space?
Sure. So the first part actually is Triad is a very influential partner and a very important partner for Rubicon project, especially as we have they're generating through their retailer partners a tremendous amount of inventory and page views that they're able to leverage as they begin to incorporate advertising and put placements on those pages and build content around the items that they're looking to sell.
Cool. And how are they working with Rubicon, or could they, or how could Rubicon work in that space?
Oh yeah, I mean, we work directly with Triad on a number of their retailer clients in many markets. They work with eBay, for instance, works with Triad in the U.S. and in Australia, and they're a valued partner as they begin to generate a significant amount of inventory through that. But also in other areas, people like Walmart.com, who are beginning to, and Asda in the UK, that are really thinking of their sites as publishers would, not just as a place in which to buy and sell goods. And we operate the automation platform for the way in which that media is bought and sold on those sites.
So Jay, and what's new? For you guys, we talked about Pangea, these cooperatives on the publisher side. What's new in Europe, particularly?
Yeah, so we're seeing, actually, there are a couple big trends that we're seeing. Obviously, these cooperatives are becoming quite contagious as publishers are really banding together to create consortiums and leverage their data, their collective scale, and incorporating automation technology into that so that they can begin to move that inventory very easily and really compete against Google and Facebook. Because in the smaller markets, those guys have a tremendous, Google and Facebook in particular, have a tremendous share of the overall market. So it's really important for the major premium media owners to figure out how they can work together in ways that they've never really done before to combat that. So we're seeing the rise of those cooperatives, not just in Europe. We're now beginning to see them in parts of Asia and in parts of Latin America as well. So it's not really endemic only to the EMEA market or region, but it is actually spreading more further afield. I think the other really major trend that we're starting to see is the use of programmatic as a means in which to execute high impact and very, very engaging brand campaigns across multiple sites with data attached to it. And it's very, very interesting to see how really it's the Southern European markets that are really advancing much of this, the French, the Italians, that are really looking for those greater efficiencies.
What do you mean by brand advertising? What form does that mean?
Skins, roadblocks, homepage takeovers, all being executed programmatically. And these were once really the domain largely of direct sales. And for most major publishers, a significant portion of their overall revenue comes from standard executions like this, 100% share of voice executions that bring in the high value brand dollars. And that's exactly what we're seeing beginning to creep into programmatic. In fact, some of our publishers see as high as 40 to 50% of their revenue coming from these high impact formats. And it's fascinating to watch that kind of innovation actually coming from the Southern European markets. In places like Australia, as I mentioned in my opening, and this actually relates directly to some of the conversation that you heard on the Triad panel, was really about how retailers are able to leverage their core data assets and bring that to market and really begin to overlay very, very valuable point of sale data, loyalty data, And we're starting to see the confluence of what has traditionally been database marketing and direct marketing with display advertising. And it's, in many ways, the Australians have led the way with this. People like Coles executing and creating their own internal retail trading desk. And that becomes obviously a very valuable proposition for a major retailer, because for them, the products that they sell on their shelves, they're making very, very razor-thin margins in order to be competitive. In the media space, they can take advantage of those data assets at a much higher margin and grab a nice piece of the overall media pie.